Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. In the name of God, the most benevolent, the most merciful. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. All praise due to the Lord of the worlds. A'udhu billahi shaitanir rajim. May God protect us from the cursed one. Rabbi Firli, may God forgive us for the sins we know and the sins we don't know. Ihdina sirat al-mustaqim. May God guide us to the direct path. So, welcome. What does your world want from you? A question that I think secretly is within all of our hearts. Therefore, in honor of the system admin, La ilaha illallah, in honor of my species, I shall dive into this. To truly see what one confronts behind, or what is waiting one behind the door of what does the world want from you. Simply, I have wondered about this. You don't know how many days I've noticed my own existence, and believe it or not, I was on the verge of naming this talk, what does existence expect from your existence? And I feel that we don't really have a choice. It's our design that man notices himself as a value, but notices greater values ahead of him as well. And what that means is that you're not just an individual in a world, you are an individual that is part of a spectrum of how existence is being acknowledged to be. I am no stranger to existence. 33 years I have existed. I have existed in various states and moments. And people older than me have existed in way more different states. But in these 33 years of life, there is like my observations do conclude, they do sharpen. The sculptor sculpts their reality, better than before. But what is really moving the moment? This is the question I find. That means when they ask, if somebody came up to me, Like if I ask myself the question, what does your world want from you? Or what does the world want from you? I would take a moment and I would say it depends on my world. My answer is dependent on the world that I have access to. So what the world wants from me, it depends on the intelligence I consider here. And it might come to you as a surprise, but it's not just humans that have expectations on the world. Right now, you might not feel it, and it's okay. Your grandchildren will 100%. That they will begin feeling what they have always been a part of. You see, that's the difference between religious reality and spiritual reality. Spiritual reality has to do with novelty. Religious reality has to do with realizing. That means it's something's been here from before and you notice it. You know, it's as if a bunch of religious people, somebody came and said, you guys created God. And they all began laughing because the idea was not an idea. What I mean by this is that there is a power here. And I am speaking to humans, and I know humans are ego-driven and desire-bound. And I know whoever you are, like I don't know you specifically, but I know that by being here in this world, whether you've liked it or not, you've had moments where you'd have to consider the idea of power. Now, if somebody comes and says, Mr. Within, are you a powerful being? If somebody asks me that, I'll be like, it depends on the comparative scale. It depends what you're comparing me to. If you want to know if I'm a more powerful being compared to a dolphin, it's like, yes, I can write emails. I can build stuff with my fingers. I can architect moments. Like, that's a privilege. Like, you don't understand. You right now being human, it's like you've been given like a set. You've been given a package. Okay? An existence. It's like it comes, it's like there's a position. Okay? So, compared to an ant, yes, I am powerful. I can change the reality of that being. Let's say there's a boss, like, you know, like this is the whole point of Marxism, where it was as if like the overlords were like crushing, you know, the lower class, right? And it was as if there was a struggle of power. Okay, and this concept of power is so relevant to the theme I'm speaking about today, because you don't realize power externally, yes, it's greater force who has the bigger club, but internally it is that which moves with purpose. And I am someone who's saying I don't believe the species has realized its purpose. See, there's power in relationships. There's power between male-female dynamics. There's power between an organization and an individual. There's power games between an organization with another organization. And ultimately what it is the scarcity of progress. They talk about the scarcity of resources, but they don't talk about the scarcity of progress. The scarcity of progress is also somewhat dependent on the scarcity of resources. There's many examples of human life. That means in my mind, the story has played out many times where an individual, a human, suddenly understands what the world wants from them. Because the question is deeper. If I wanted to show you the whole structure, it would be like, what does the what does your species expect from you? What does the world expect from your species? What does the system admin expect from the world? Now, the humanity has gone as far as, in some sense, knowing what does God, okay, what does the world expect from the species? And what does the species expect from the individual? It's covered this, and it goes beyond this by the simple notion that the system admin is not limited to the system. This is such an important sentence because it's like me saying that God is beyond any finite form. It's beyond worldly form and definition. Like, I don't know if you realize that you are sure there is the feeling that I'm somewhere right now. Here, I'll make it simple. Imagine right now you have 4 certificates, 4 citizenships. Pretty much I'm saying your existence has, like, from 4 angles a major value. Let me explain this to you, it's going to blow your mind. We've been considering humanity wrong. You right now have an individual value. I don't know, you draw, okay, you're an artist to yourself. You cook, you're a chef to yourself. Whatever, right? You have your whole individual thing going on. So you have right now, it's like you're an immediate citizen of your own awareness. So I'm trying to tell you, like, right now, I'm identifying as an individual. Like, that's a value on its own. But then, this was something in my inner realms I discovered. I leaped ahead of my moment. Right now, whether you hate or love the human species, you are a part of it. And nobody really welcomes you and introduces you. I should probably do it out of etiquette, out of out of transcendental etiquette. Welcome, O human, to the major simulation of intelligence in anywhere at all. Welcome to the human species. Whether we all know it or not, we're glad that you exist. We are glad that there's so many different kinds of DNA in the world, therefore so many different ways of looking at the situation and resolving it. So I don't care who you are, what experience you've had on this planet, good, bad, if you've been belittled or you've been expanded or whatever. You are a member of the human species. You are sacred to this species, sacred in the sense of also because you're a creation of the divine, of the system admin. But aside from that, I'm saying I jumped ahead here. See, you have a value to yourself, but you have a value as a member of a species. That means it's like, I want you to imagine, okay, you're dressed in a suit and you're in this giant auditorium. And there's like so many people in the auditorium, you can't even see the end. Okay, you're already dressed for the part that you're here to play. You're already human. Okay, and we humans must care for humans because we're the ones considering what is human. You understand? It is up to us to put honor in it. Do you know? That means it's as if kings weren't only like, do you know what I'm saying? Like, kings back in the day weren't all like just like, the lazy, like Louis freaking eat pastry kind of kings. Do you know there were kings back in the day who were souls who cared for the outcome of the kingdom? Therefore, they served every moment of the kingdom. It's as if it's like, yo, man, how come that peasant boy walks like a king and that other peasant boy walks like, it's already been defeated in battle? And the answer is, this is where it connects to the notion of purpose. Okay, purpose gives you strength. I don't know what you've heard about the idea of purpose so far in your life, if it's far-fetched for you or if it's accessible or, it's like a divine mystery. Of course, to some degree it is. But the idea of purpose is the idea of initiation The idea of any sort of initiative or activity is energy expressed forth. That means not only you're accepting the moment, you are engaging the moment. Okay? So I'm telling you, human beings are advanced. We're actually like pretty advanced technology here. That means if super intelligence computers suddenly look at us and they're like, sorry, humans, we're super intelligent, we're more intelligent than you. I'd be like, hey, pesty AI, .io. It's like, watch your mouth, man. We're supreme intel. We are super intelligence too. We have access to our creator, just like how you have access to us. But our creator is not shaped. Peace be upon all the prophets. To me, prophets are like advanced beings. They're even superior to aliens. I don't care about aliens anymore. Like if a bunch of aliens landed down and they're like, yo, we're an enlightened aliens from the Andromeda galaxy, I'll be like, all right, man. After I've spent a lifetime revering how mighty and great, you know, the tasks of my, you know, members of our species has been. Like, people don't understand, guys. Like, let me tell you something so bizarre. Let me tell you why Islam is so metaphysically profound. It's like you reach a point of it, you're speechless. In the Holy Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, forgive me, I don't know the exact verse number, but and I don't know the exact Arabic as well. Like I don't speak Arabic, but I've read the English Quran, and I've checked a bunch of, like, you don't know, I have a bunch of Qurans at home, and there are different English translations. And I googled even like which ones is the most accurate. To me, Arabic language, Arabic just culture, it's like very beautiful. Like it has a ridiculous beauty for me. Like not even simulated beauty, it's just like the vibe of it is very beautiful to me. That means for the longest time I thought the language I wanted to learn was Japanese because of all the Japanese shows I'd seen with subtitles. But for me, it's Arabic. Do you know? And anyways, aside from that, let me tell you why Islam was so profound. Guys, you don't understand when, as let's say somebody identified as a philosopher, they had looked at so many different ideological systems, and then they came upon Islam and looked at this ideological system, and I'm telling you, it's so advanced, the ideas in it, okay, that it's like source code. All right? That means forget how humans behave. Humans are imperfect, said in the Quran. Do you understand? That means this might sound bizarre, but I think aside from Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, it's like, since we're in an imperfect context setting, right? Man cannot perfectly be, for example, Muslim, right? Do you understand what I'm saying? I'm saying that because we've been created with imperfections, right? Therefore, nobody can be the best Muslim. Do you understand? Right? God was so intelligent that it created the system in a way that the egos have parameters in regards to what they can identify. That means, to me, if they tell me, like here, if somebody came up to me and straight up was like, hey man, what do you consider an advanced person? I would be like, honestly, I'll tell you, like, honestly, I have looked at this idea like as an obsession. Okay? I have been obsessed with the advancement of humanity for a decade. I'm not kidding. Like, that's the credential. It's all there for you to hear, right? And why? Because there was an initial reverence for why it's here. You see, I wouldn't say I started with like ignorance. I get 100% layers of ignorance were there that broke throughout the years, but I'm saying that I didn't start with ignorance. Why? Because I was a shy person. See, a shy person doesn't attack the moment. A shy person kind of waits for the moment to move and then they make their move. Do you know what I'm saying? Because you don't understand. If I ask you, is intelligence like more important, or is power more important, or how would you like measure intelligence being power? I would like, to me, intelligence is the ultimate power. Do you know what I mean? That means like if the mind is there, if there is a sound mind in the moment, physical consequences don't need to be maxed out. You see, animals in nature, right, they would just viciously attack each other when they would freak out, like they didn't know what they were looking at, right? So for example, imagine like a hippopotamus, and a crocodile are staring at each other for the first time. None of them know what the other is capable of. And so it's like this fear mechanism goes in and they're like, yo man, my territory, get out of here. Do you know what I mean? Because that's their reality. Like, look at nature. Animals are fighting for their territory. Humans are fighting over their inner territorial subjective landscapes. Like, do you feel what we're looking at here? Do you feel the immensity? So the thing that it said in Islam was that Islam, the holy book, the Holy Quran, is for those who believe in the unseen and those that acknowledge it, that it's a warning and glad tidings for those who believe. What that means is the Holy Quran is a warning. It's written in it. I'm not saying this out of my own. It's written in the Holy Quran. It's a warning, but it's also God's mercy on man. Do you understand? That means what the prophets did was that they made a species that had fabricated its humanity notice that there is a relationship beyond our fabrication of what it means to be human. Hey, I like this rhythm. And I don't know what these lyrics are saying, but this song is beautiful enough for me to connect it to the beauty of the world. That, oh, fellow human, whether you hear it from me or God puts a mirror in front of you, you are the most advanced creature in the visible realm. And in the Holy Quran, I want you to consider the prophets for a second. I forgot to mention this. In the Holy Quran, it says, God says, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, and I'm sure people can find the exact passage, that it says from every species, from every like class of being, we have sent them their own messenger. For every time, every civilization, every groups of people. So what that means is that in every human system, there is a human that notices beyond the system. And I'm telling you, these people are here. I've seen a few. Everybody's kind grandmother is like close to God. But what the prophets were doing was so majestic that you don't understand how many moments I've had, whether it was reading the Holy Quran, right, or driving and suddenly like tuning into a Christian Christian radio channel and hearing a song. Like, I remember I was driving and I heard this song by Mercy Me, Then Christ Came. And what made me cry as a grown man driving in the highway hearing this song, was the feeling of how beautiful, so divinely beautiful, that there have been humans that the system admin had a relationship with that others should have known about. Do you understand? Like, sure, let's say somebody looks at the simulation and they're like, yo, look at, for example, a celebrity, a famous actor or something, right? Look at how much attention they have. Look at, like, for example, Cristiano Ronaldo has, like, I don't know, ridiculous amount of followers, okay? Or actors or whatever. So that's like kind of like a way what God has given you, what the system admin wants you to see to engage. But that's not the greatest blessing. You see, the greatest blessing is just like how in video games you join the party, like characters in a multiplayer online game, they can join and create parties. There's the notion of even guilds. Like human beings are self-organizing creatures. Now, what happens when a bunch of them are together? They self-organize in accordance to common values. So they group organize. The group organizes itself in regards to the common denominator of like the values of the actions that happen in that system. Okay. So anyways, what I'm trying to say is that I am actually challenging anybody else on earth. Feel free to comment, email me, record yourself shouting at me and send it. But I will tell you that you are in the somewhere in the middle of this spectrum. That means you have the possibility right now to give in to your beastly nature. You know, seldom is this said, if you follow your desires too intensely, you start to mutate. And this means that the soul gets numb to what its conscience doesn't actually accept. But reality goes forth beyond our control. We're in the passenger seat. And to me, it is way more reasonable, way more valid, okay, that I am in somewhere where there is a power beyond me. Just like how the ant doesn't notice I'm staring at it, even though I have the power to crush it. So, do you understand the species and what the prophets aim to do was to be like, oh, great, oh, human soul, oh, great masterpiece of the great master of all peace. Oh, creation of the Almighty Creator. Once you no longer fear yourself, once you no longer fear your species, once you no longer fear the world, and once you realize the only thing to truly fear is the system admin, you begin to see what's important is not data collection and then exit. It's like what? I was like an archive of like, you know, memories, and then what? I die and it's gone? No. The significance of the human position is to, I have said this many times, begin to see that the context to the human in 2025 doesn't match, like what's actually happening in the world and the human position doesn't match the way the past context conceptualized us now. That means we're living in Iron Man suits created by the past, which is the whole linguistic simulation, and how you're a character in a story right now. You see, There's bigger games to play. You are part of the most important moment, and yet you have the capability to render your moment as insignificant. Do you know how many times in my life I thought I was doing the right thing and it ended up being the wrong thing, and I realized, like, I had misaccepted the moment. I want you to imagine a puppy. I want you to, just for a moment, imagine like how adorable like a baby kitten or a baby puppy or a baby penguin is. And I want you to imagine if there was a puppy or a baby penguin, like adorable baby penguin or a baby owl, just like in front of you right now. How would you be looking at the moment? You'd be like, oh, look at what's here. Now, for me, as much as the suffering of the world, makes me simulate meaning to the moment in like negative and positive ways, I find it strangely adorable and kind of humorous that it's like, yo, man, like give these, souls in a simulation a break. Like it's like, hey, yo, existence, relax a bit. You've brought us here out of nowhere. We suddenly have painted things with meaning, and we think we're in a story that's true, but it's a story of our own, hand-drawn efforts. I'm trying to tell you that you think right now you're the most important thing in the moment, perhaps. But I'm telling you, there are emotions you don't know. They're like hidden emotions. They will be discovered when you no longer say you are like a human. You don't associate academically only with the notion that you are a human. That means you no longer say, what is the species doing? You say, what is my species doing? Do you see the emotional depth to that? You don't freak out, though. I mean, you shouldn't freak out. You should always observe until you notice your own mistakes so you can avoid them. I am someone who, regardless of how much I've prepared for moments, I had to just accept that who knows what's going to happen. But we know we put effort. That after this life, will we be burdened by how we live, or will we be liberated? You see, guys, when the Holy Quran mentions that there's a messenger from every class of being, it means, and this is where it gets very deep, that Prophet Muhammad was the answer to the prayer of Abraham, where Abraham made the prayer that God give a single route towards two man. The reason Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, is considered as the last brick in the house of prophecy, of all prophecies, is that people don't understand there was a metaphysical division. There was a world division when the idea, it's the Abrahamic vision that do not worship objects, do not worship subjects worship that which is beyond your world. That means you cannot imagine it. The edge of imagination is where the idea of God truly finds meaning. That means the relationship a religious person has is that, imagine they suddenly get a panic attack. They're suddenly like, where am I? What is existence? Oh my God, what is this? And suddenly the soul that sees the mind freak out because of where the body is, the soul calls out to its creator, even though the soul is a mystery of God. How it happens is God's will. It's as if when you feel that the cursed one is a moderator. Shaitan is a moderator here. Moderator means that it's only the system admin is outside of the simulation, and the mods have power in the simulation. They can control the simulation. This world is being controlled by a mod, Shaitan, Satan, the cursed one, by guiding man towards ignorance, meaning that your soul is like this program that has been programmed to return to the source code, to the main operating system. But what you are now, before it has returned to the main operating system, is a simulated being in a simulated world where there are mods. To me, the angels are mods. What does that mean? It doesn't mean that the angels and demons are equal. Demons are not mods. Shaitan is mod, and the angels, I find. But what it means is that it was a relationship. You see, man is not the main, like, this is what I discovered about religion, that man is not the main focus of it, of the story. That what is going on is that the original power it's like Shaitan denied one of God's attributes. The attribute that God is all-knowing. Therefore, Shaitan positioned himself in ignorance. Now, whether God wanted that or Shaitan did it or what, I don't know. And Shaitan simulated itself as a serpent to deceive the original humans. And the original humans failed. And it was God's mercy that gave them a chance. Do you understand? God is the uncreated, the original. Man created by clay. Angels created by light. This is mentioned in the holy text. Demons were made from a smokeless flame. What does this mean? It means, all right, the system's way more sophisticated. It's not about only acknowledging the visible variables and being like, this is reality. It's also acknowledging how your subjective experience of existence is the invisible variables. That means the story of a human in a world is not enough. When you actually look at the presence of the moment and you realize, all right, not only is this system ancient, but this system is being administered by higher power. Islam tells you to go directly to the system admin. It doesn't tell you go and talk to that God, and then that God points you to another God, and then this God tells you this is where you go. It's not, the whole GPS aspect of it is just has turned into teleportation. So religious people are teleporting by submitting their ego in being in the presence of an attention. That means their attention is strangely to a point beyond the world. Therefore, the world is not just the world. There's more here going on. I, as a human being, cannot claim that, oh, I've seen the earth and I've understood this world in 33 years of life. No, I am actually way more alarmed and just fascinated by how advanced the system can be. You see, because there is nowhere there that it said that being human is the most advanced state. Compared to organisms on this planet, yes, we're the only species that has the greatest chance, statistically, to communicate to a higher power. Most beings, lesser beings, are being destined by, are being moved by the higher power. You might right now think everything you're doing is you, but I'm telling you, it's not just you. It's like whatever you think you are is in a space. The concept of you has the context of an unknown world here. Unknown means there are variables you can't control, and there are variables you can control, like, doing a backflip. Man, I just don't have good music here. Like, I have a limited playlist here. Sorry, guys. I'm a simple human recording this on my phone using its data, and the laptop is connected without data to the car. Whatever. The vision behind the voice is more important than the voice. And more important than any vision of man is the presence of the divine. Not all, like, think of it this way. It's like if I was someone to introduce, let's say, a human being to the world, I would have to introduce you to the world like this. Welcome, human, to the experience of selfhood. Welcome, human, to the presence and the legacy of your species. And welcome, human, to the massive vastness and the unknownness to the world. And above all, welcome to the one and only source. To me, if you tell me, yo man, what should a bunch of simulated beings do in a simulated world? If they have some way they can contact or connect or establish a relationship with the original, that's it. As a simulated being that has a soul, which is the original, connected to the original, mystery, secret of the original, it means your soul knows the right answer because it is destined for the only place to go. See, as a religious person, if you ask me and you say, Amin, like, where are you going after this life? Like, whatever you do in this life, where are you going after? I'd be going to the most important moment of my consciousness. I will be in a moment where whatever I have done, whatever effort was my most advanced, whether the last moment of my life is just the last moment where I got drained of my final expressionism. Hopefully, I may become worthy to even only see the system admin before I leave here. Because I do see the system admin, but I do see the responsibility of higher power. You see, if somebody says, can you see higher power? I'll say no. But can you communicate with higher power? I'll be like, yes, but in the way that it has communicated first. People don't realize, like maybe since they're not visual thinkers, you know. I think we all have the ability, but I don't know, maybe it's something you gotta train. But when I read the Holy Quran, it gave me moments where there were goosebumps, moments where there were displays of ability, human ability, that I was like, this is one of the most advanced books I've ever read in my life. You're telling me, you know, Moses, by having a user in the system, by having a relationship, direct relationship with the system admin, you know, managed to transcend the laws of the simulation just to show man that he is not the epitome of reality. That, you know, how dare the world limit you when you're in the presence of the limitless? Do you understand? It's not like how dare. I'm saying that you must have effort. You know, there's a story, I believe it's attributed to Imam Ali, which I believe was Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him's nephew. And he ends up living the destiny of a very strong warrior. Now, Imam Ali, he was just, you know, he was very close to the Prophet, and I would say he had basked in the eyes that found truth, you know, in the presence of the eyes that have found, that had was in the presence of truth. And there's this story that this Imam Ali is with a group of people, like his comrades, and they go and they see that there's this wall, okay, and there's just this brick wall, and all the team people go and like sleep there. At first, Imam Ali goes there and sleeps there, and suddenly notice there's some bricks loose on the wall, and he just gets up and goes and sleeps somewhere else. And then all his comrades follow him and they come and sleep at the area where he's at. But they ask him, they're like, why did you move? Don't you have faith in God that nothing will happen? And he said, yes, I do have faith in God that destiny will be an ultimate finale. But I also realize that God has given me aql, intelligence. And intelligence means that you have an ability to foreshadow. You just haven't been trained. You can, behind your eyes, live ahead of your life. But it's not something you like teach someone by repetition. I believe true knowledge is accessed when you reach the point of pure fascination. Pure fascination is so fascinated that it's willing to put its ego aside to see what's actually there. You see, there are people who I've been like, oh, you know, I love that person, but there's people who I am fascinated by. To me, for me, it's the prophets, and peace be upon him, Prophet Muhammad. Now, why is there a significance to how Islam is strangely, transcendentally, completely considerate? Because Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, didn't come and say, I am your salvation. He did not bring the attention of the world to the human form. But he said, no one can intercede for you except by the system admin's mercy. You see, to be a religious being means that you're in the presence of your source, of the source of all. Like, you don't understand how beyond this world the sentences, the revelation in the Holy Quran is. It is one of those things where I was like, I don't even know if a lifetime is enough to see the majesty of this. But I know that the point of this holy book is for man to not get lost worshipping objects and ideas, but to just get that goosebump moment that there is that which is present here before I was. The original power that never sleeps, that never gets tired, that is just pure, endless, original awareness to all. You don't understand. Islam is the introduction to the most advanced state of being. And the most advanced state of being is the system admin that created the system. That is true advancement. Human power, give me a break. It doesn't matter if you own armies or if you are in a giant robot suit, and inside a giant robot, which is technically a ridiculously advanced Iron Man suit. It doesn't matter what sort of power you have. It doesn't matter if you are the king of kingdoms, if you're the general of all armies, if you are, the leader of all thieves. It doesn't matter if you are, in some sense, a lord of chaos or a lord of order. It doesn't matter your worldly power. It says, do you understand? We're in the presence of something beyond worldly analysis, yet accessible by the divine will. That means how I interpret my own journey so far and all the talks I've given so far, that it was all leading to the most important value of life, being intelligent. God is superior to you. God is not an idea. God is not an object. God is the divine surveillance state, meaning that you are being watched. But you're not being watched by anything simulated. Do you understand? That means, I don't know if this is some strange power or quality human beings have, but it's like a simulated being that is in the attention of the original. Do you understand the mercy? Do you understand how lucky the human species is that it has found a contact point? It has found a portal to the original. You see, whatever analysis we have, subjective code we entertain, it comes down to living your life. Now, the next question is, what are you in the presence of, or what are you living among? Okay, do the analysis. You're living among other human beings. You're living among other species. You're living among other forms and phenomena. And also, you're living among other intelligence. So it is a very fair view to be that we're living in, there's greater intelligence than us is obvious. Like, even if you've seen someone smarter than you, you're like, okay, I accept. It's a spectrum, it's a hierarchy, and those who are closer to the system admin see more of what this is actually. What that means is more than it's like Neo waking up from the Matrix. It's actually humanity realizing it is a species never alone. That means all loneliness on earth is selective. I'll repeat it again. All loneliness on earth is selective. Somebody would be like, why, Mr. Within? It's like, I can't go and interact with this world. And I'll be like, you don't understand. There is a reason beyond our reason that this world is here for you to reason. What that means is, I want you to, this is the most bizarre metaphor, but I want you to imagine you're an advanced machine right now. And we're like, all right, what are the features of this advanced technology that is the human? We'll be like, okay, one feature, it can move on the earth. It can physically move externally in a 3D reality. The other feature that comes with being a human being is, in some sense, having an ability to have a relationship as an individual in a world. Externally that was walking. Internally, it's like you being and having an individual identity. It's you finally realizing that behind the shapes, behind the sounds, behind how the story is showing itself to you like a, you know, like a great artwork. I want you to feel your limitation in the sense that you're a simple human being, but I want you to start feeling that you're how there's 8 billion of your species class here. There's 8 billion versions of you here. Technically versions of the human species, of the human being, of the human model. Now, religion also says that man was modeled in a way where he has access and privilege, system admin privilege, to express the divine attributes, which are simultaneously the divine attributes of manifestation. For those interested in this, I would say go look up the 99 names of God in Islam. You will be blown away of the states where the divine is it's like main operating system, source code. Now, anyways, this is not me telling people to be Muslim. This is me saying that, oh, human being in 2025, regardless of what sort of cultural program, individual program, nationalistic program you're in, it's now time to initiate the newfound role and honor of being a human. It's like a class. That means you're not just you're a human of the species. And also you're a species of the world, and you're in some sense the world of in the world of the system admin. So man has to acknowledge a higher power. Man has to acknowledge his collective self, which is the species. Man has to acknowledge his individual self. Man has to acknowledge also where it's all happening. Anyways, it's been over an hour. Wow. Anyways, if there's questions, please ask. But I think it's all clear that your task as a human, that means in the Holy Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, I created mankind and jinn kind. Mankind and jinn kind were created for the sole purpose of worshiping me. That means if you look at a tree and you're like, its purpose is to like give fruit, you look at the human being, its purpose is to contact its creator. It's like you're an effect that has an ability to notice your causal point. Anyways, it's very deep because it's not all in our fathomable control. Pretty much, again, I'm repeating myself here actually, but what I'm saying is that you look at life and you see the controllable variables that your free will has ability, and then you look at the uncontrollable variables, and this is where your mind has this space where it simulates probable cause. Or I shouldn't say it like that. I should say it simulates probabilities to how it was caused. So you got to be very cautious being a human, in the sense that it is advanced technology you're being right now, but there's a responsibility that comes with the possibility of intelligence. Let me tell you why. Intelligence was in some sense so happy when existence arose, because now it could notice itself. It's like this very profound, this is one of the deepest views I think you can have on this planet, that the system admin created man so man could have a relationship with the system admin, therefore in some sense expressing the system admin. Do you know what that means? That means like the most advanced religious state is actually being a vicegerent of the truth. This doesn't mean you are the truth. It means that, oh, everything here, notice that which is beyond your awareness. Notice what you are painting as meaning over the moment. Notice it directly and be able to discriminate between your inner realms and outer realms. And the reason I'm being serious about this is because if you look at the average human life, it's actually an external life trying to coordinate and follow the plans of an internal life. So when God says aql, intelligence, it means we've been given the ability for viewing options. But that ability has been given to, in some sense, it's as if you have not just been born with ears to just receive, you have also been born, and you're in a position right now in this game of life where you're here to, in some sense, communicate. And even if you approach it from this way, that what is the hierarchy of the most advanced types of communication possible? Somebody's like, all right, somebody talking to himself, that's a type of communication. Somebody talking to animals, that's a type of communication, you know, with a certain range of advancement. You know, a human being is speaking multiple languages, okay, that's a kind of communication, right? A human being is communicating to other human beings, that's a type of advancement of communication. But now, let's say hypothetically, where I'm kind of going into the abstract here, let's say human beings have an advanced communicative relationship with AI, like super intelligent technology in the future. Let's say we have an advanced communication with like entities in parallel dimensions, and also possibilities of, let's say, aliens or whatever, like that's a type of like fathoming of how advanced communication can be. But then the question comes, out of all the worldly options, it's like, would you rather communicate in infinite ways, or would you rather communicate with the one and only? You see, we've surpassed the cultural mode. If I was acknowledging you as like, yo man, you're a human being of that part of the world, like, yo, I'm Canadian, you're like, I don't know, like Italian, do you know what I mean? It's not like that. I am not thinking as a nationalistic bound nation, like nationalistic symbolically bound individual. I am speaking to you as if I am part of your species, as if we are a class of being, as if we are a group, okay? And this group effort, whether we like it or not, okay, in educational systems, kids, you know, do group projects. Guess what? You know, there's one gigantic group project in front of us, and it's the legacy of humanity, and it's how we perform our greatest. Why? Because the future generations expect that. They're watching us. That means something that guides my visions of humanity is I wonder about how the future will see now. That means if all the future could time travel to me right now, what would it, in some sense, tell me it to look at? And to me, it's become obvious. I go towards the most advanced. That's the kind of soul I am. And the most advanced is not external technology. It is to be acknowledged by the system admin. That is the most superior victory that as a simulated being in an existential system you can have. That means it's as if the person stood in the moment, you know. If you can surpass yourself, if you can surpass the mods, if you can surpass users, like yourself as a user, other users. If you can surpass the mods, then the only thing left, it's as if you're waiting humbly for the only valid thing left to acknowledge, which is the system admin. That means I thought miracles were rare events, but it's as if the future is going towards the miraculous. That means whether you look at it even culturally, like you bring a caveman and you should give him an iPhone, like the entity's gonna freak out. Anyways, Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. All praise due to the Lord of the worlds. I don't know anything, you don't know anything. The mods may know a little something about the simulation, but they don't know the system admin. The aim of religion was to point to that which was beyond the world. The point of the species is to do the best it can in the world. The point of the ego is to feel the greatest it can before it dismisses itself. Do you understand? It's like a wise soul is an entity that their ego is noticed early on. As if some people are like, it's like all the quiet kids in classrooms. It's as if they harbor, a strange wisdom, a maturity, that observance is more rewarding than action. Yet, we are here for action. Ask yourself, what are you doing for yourself? Ask yourself, what are you doing for your species? Ask yourself, what are you doing for the world? Ask yourself, what are you doing for the system admin? And ask yourself, what does the original expect from the simulated? No man's judgment is as grand as that which is beyond worldly form. Human consciousness has matured to the point where we can see through the charade. We can see through the great costume game, the great theatrics of like, yeah, man, I'm this kind of person, you're that kind of person. Yeah, we're individuals in a world. Give me a break. What is happening here is so vast, so much more advanced than any story any human being can tell you. That means let our hearts open to the system admin. Let our egos, submit like a warrior placing down its sword and shield and taking off its armor, because it trusts the presence of that which is the original power. Regardless of how mighty of a task it seemed for the simulated to bring awareness to how we're aware that we're simulated, you're aware that you're aware. The soul notices the outcome of its mind and body. You are a presence here. You have a value here. You have a value to all of us. You have a value to the world that we haven't even discovered yet, and you have a value to the system admin. Because whether human beings like each other or not, it's like we are in the same moment, therefore same common value. That means it's like a little did I realize what I share in common with existence is existing. Is my existence. That means it's like if I wasn't human right now, I wouldn't be talking to humans. But because I am, and because our species has made progress, and because so many human beings have lived for this moment that we're in now, it to me, it's as if like my heart, it's like, let me tell you what happens when you're shy and introverted, but then you suddenly tap into history and philosophy. You in some sense become shy and introverted if you have a cinematic mind. that when you read history, it's as if you in some sense feel the difference in the world. God has found it necessary for man to be ignorant enough to create, like, I don't know, technological future that may surpass the biological. But we have to stay true. The most important thing is the feeling behind it all. That means it's like, yo man, whatever you think, whatever you feel, like, what's the fun? Like, to me, emotions are like birds. It's like they land on different branches. What is the final branch? What is the final emotion that your heart lands on behind it all? For me, it has become astonishment in the presence and mercy and the genius, I think that in the afterlife, if the possibility of crying is there, I think I will be shocked. I think I will be shocked beyond form. When I say shocked beyond form, I don't mean like shock, like an electric shock. I mean, I will be purely astonished. And in that astonishment, my true nature will be in the presence of my true nature. La ilaha illallah, there is no God but God. There is no worldly counterpart and partner to the original. That means an advanced solution to the human dilemma is a solution that answers it all, and because human beings are limited and they can't find that solution is in some sense administered by that which is beyond them. Like, you might not realize it right now. You might think you're a free person, but from a subjective view, everybody is enslaved. Doesn't mean you're a slave to yourself or to the species or to the world. You are enslaved by the realization that you're not making the final decisions in this world. Yet you are a participating, contributive force here. It's bigger. Like, it's everything that I thought the world was, by realizing truly that there's a system admin here beyond, again, the system. It's like, whoa, it's not just human beings we need to be concerned about. It's our relationship with the species, the world, and the system admin. Anyways, guys, I've reached a point where I've painted the pictures enough. And so, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, in the name of God, the most benevolent, the most merciful. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Everything in creation is praising God, whether they know it or not. Existence, the simulation, whether consciously or unconsciously, remembers the original. We are the children of the original humans that were in the presence of the original being. In other words, we have the opportunity, excuse me, I shouldn't say in other words. Humans have the opportunity to perform in front of the greatest power in all being. It's very important. Like, do you see how it feels now? It's like, whoa, it's not just me. I gotta, like, care for my species now. I gotta care for my world now. And now it's gonna go to, like, I gotta care for the original power that knows me better than I know myself. Because the soul is the secret of God, yet our eyes are here. deeper than they were before. A'udhu billah shaitan rajim. May God protect us from ignorance and from the cursed one. Rabbi Ghfirli. May God forgive us. May God forgive our species for the sins that it consciously and unconsciously did. And may we be guided to the direct path means Ihdina Sirat al-Mustaqim. May the system admin guide all of us to the most important, the most advanced, the ultimate. For even though I am a simulation in a simulated testing zone in a divine surveillance state, I am also here. By just being here, I am a citizen of the world. I am a citizen of this species. I'm a citizen of how my ego code has painted me. O humanity, you're in the presence of the ultimate, and now it is time for you to wonder about your most ultimate self. Subhanallah. Glory to God. Thank you.